location at the Property Investor Show. I'm here with John and Paul. We just need Ringo and George, and then we've got the Property Beatles.
Got the boy band. The boy band.
But listen, seriously, stressful. We've got to get serious, guys, because what has happened in the last 3 weeks, I'm going to use some hyperbole here, it's unprecedented. Now, when something like this happens, my instinct is to come to people who I know give good advice. So that's why I'm here with John Howard and Paul Mahoney, who are guys that I totally trust their input. Now, John, if we start with you, it's our old little joke. You've been in the sector for 40 years.
Everyone, and Paul goes banging on about it and reminding me all the time.
Now, so you must have seen everything, but have you seen what's happened in the last 3 weeks?
I think at the end of the day, what's happened in the last 3 weeks is very unfortunate. Interest rates were always going to go up. I've been to the Conservative conference for 3 days, and every time I left my hotel room in the morning, I was listening to the news, and it's just a frenzy, a crazy frenzy. You know, the pound is back up to where it was before the announcements regarding the mini budget already. People just need to calm down and relax a little bit. Yes, there's going to be problems for some people, and that's unfortunate. I think the vulnerable people, the only vulnerable people I see really in the industry, are the developers with part finished stock, where building costs have gone up. It's taken longer to do it, and now they're not going to get out of jail by inflation. You know, those sell prices might have to come down 10% to sell. So that's where I see the problem.
Right. Now, Paul, I'm interested to hear your view, because Paul is a businessman across property, finance. You've got other business interests around the world. What's your take on what's happened? How are you going to react to it yourself as a landlord?
Yeah, I mean, we're in an adjustment period, aren't we? You know, interest rates have risen at a faster rate over the past 6 months than ever before in history. And that's obviously going to cause a bit of concern. But I think that will slow down now. You know, the lenders will start to work out how to deal with it and how to lend in the current market, which some of them have pulled back, understandably trying to work out how to make it work. You know, a lot of, for example, 5-year rates have been pulled, but now they're coming back already. It's only been a week or two. So just about adjusting. You know, another thing that people have raised today, and I actually read an article about it yesterday, was that you know, mortgages are unaffordable now because it's 30% of people's incomes. Well, that's rubbish. You know, people have been paying 40% of their income toward rent for a decade. So people can afford that. It's just that we have been spoiled. You know, interest rates have been so low. My home loan is 1.7%. That's free money. You know, inflation is 15% or something. So, you know, it's great for the people that are fixed at those lower rates, and we've just been spoiled. We're getting back to a time of normality, if anything, with rates around that 5% range. So, yeah, I agree with John that it's the people that need to be doing stuff in the short term that are at risk. As we quite often say, is the property market doesn't move as one either. So, you know, if you've got good properties in good areas with lots of reasons for people to want and need to live there, you're going to be fine. And you can still be buying well in those areas as well.
Well, I think what you said, Paul, is absolutely right. There's opportunities. I'm not saying you should rush in on those opportunities. You just probably need to sit back and see what happens in the next 2 or 3 months. But there's certainly opportunities. And a friend of mine said people just have to buy less cost of coffees. And you know, actually, a bit harsh probably, but I do see his point. You know, everyone's going out. Not everyone. They go out for dinner once or twice a week. They want coffee, buy coffees every day, all the time. They might just have to sit back a little bit and say, well, I can't afford those things, and I can't afford the 200 this year. I might have to have one. So, if you own a property and you've had 20% inflation in the last 2 years, the 25%, you know, they forget to mention that on telly when they're talking to someone their mortgage has gone up £400. So I think we just need to read between the lines. You know, the media's the media. It's, you know, they don't want to tell you good news, bad news stories, and they exaggerate the situation. So we just need to calm down on it.
Couldn't agree more with that, Josh. I mean, I did an interview this morning with Bloomberg, and before the interview they showed me an article that Bloomberg had put out. that said house prices are starting to fall. And underneath that in small writing it said they've come down by 0.1% in September. Well, they rose by 1% in August. So that's not house prices starting to fall. You know, as property owners, we've done pretty well lately. You know, we're 20% wealthier than we were 18 months ago. So if things come down by a little bit, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, it really isn't.
Well, you know, we're always talking collectively about how property is a long-term investment. It doesn't make sense to make short-term decisions or knee-jerk decisions based on what's happened over the last 3 weeks. So what I'm really taking away from both of you is now is the time to really batten down the hatches and just to wait for it all to, you know, come back to some sense of normality.
Yes, you know, you don't want to be making decisions if you don't know where you're going. And I just think, I don't know about you, Paul, it will take a couple of months just for the frenzy to die down. Let's hope there's not another, you know, drama on the horizon with this government, and we don't know. But hopefully, in terms of the government, it's very important that we have a government that settles down as well, the new Prime Minister, because, you know, that one of the reasons we've got the problem is because of what she said and what the Chancellor said. So we've just got to, let's have a couple of months or 3 months of stability, bed things down and take it from there.
And Paul, I think for those of us, you know, that we've always kept the faith with buy-to-let, it's always served us well. This might be like a bit of a you know, a traumatic experience of what's happened in the last 3 weeks, but I think one of the key things to do is to focus on the things that we do have control of, like our properties, like maintaining them, like finding good quality tenants. Those are the things we can control.
Excuse me, yeah, exactly. What a lot of our clients, for example, have been doing over the past few weeks is because rates have risen so much and we're not quite sure where rates will be in 12 months, is they're going for 2-year variable products. And there's some products out there that you have no repayment fees. So rather than fixing at 6%, you take a variable product at 4.5%. And maybe in 12 months you can remortgage it even cheaper or fix it cheaper. So, you know, there's options out there. I think everyone's a little bit worried because things have just happened so quickly. You know, with the budget, with interest rates rising, with lenders not really knowing how to deal with that, and they'll start to return to a bit of normality over the coming weeks and months, I think.
Okay, so I guess, should people keep the faith with buy-to-let? Is it still viable? Is it still worthwhile?
I think there's opportunities in buy-to-let. You know, even if you buy a property in the next 3 months and it goes down 5% in the next year, you know, over 20, 25 years, you'll be glad you bought it. And I think that, I mean, and like you said, longevity, you know, if you look at the market's gone up 5% a year, probably on average the last 25 years. So, and in that time it has fallen, but it's bounced back up and so on. So I wouldn't worry. We've got a nice portfolio of buy-to-lets like Paul has.
A good case study I spoke to him about earlier is it's a somewhat similar situation we're in now to pre-referendum, start of the pandemic. Now it's the same uncertainty but for different reasons. And if you were going to buy pre-referendum or if you were going to buy March 2020 and you didn't because of the uncertainty, you'd be kicking yourself now.
Yeah, true.
You would.
So it's probably fairly likely that in 12 or 18 months we're going to be in a similar situation where things will work themselves out. Good properties in good areas will have still done pretty well.
Well, it's so interesting to hear your views because I totally agree with you that the mainstream media, particularly the Telegraph, you know, if you listen to them, you would put all your properties on the market tomorrow. We mustn't buy into this almost emotional hysteria.
It is hysteria, and it's whipped up by, sadly, it's whipped up by television and by newspapers. They just read the headlines and nothing else, and that's a shame.
So my advice is that you listen to us here, to two gentlemen that have been investing for many, many years, who speak very sound advice. They're keeping their powder dry. They're going to hang out and wait for it to all calm down and continue on.
Absolutely.
And we can put our stress balls away because we
put them away. You don't need them.